Hey friends, welcome to One Flight Down Basement Beer Tastings and another Back of the Beer Fridge Sunday. Today we're checking out something from Full Geek BrewLab from Winnipeg, Manitoba. This is called Helios. It's a hazy IPA. All right, so this is a beer that's been kicking around the back of the beer fridge for quite some time. I remember picking it up last year with the intention of reviewing it, and then just other beers came my way, and it just made its way to the back of the beer fridge. That's why we have Back of the Beer Fridge Sunday. But we're going to do something a little extra with Back of the Beer Fridge Sunday, something we haven't done yet, and I'm kind of excited to do this. So I just happened on last week's Back of the Beer Fridge Sunday to pull this one out as my beer of choice. I knew it was back there, and one of these days I'm going to get to that. And I picked it out last week. So I'm looking forward to trying it. I'm pretty sure I've had it before, but a little more fresh. But here's the thing. A few days later, I went and I picked up a variety pack of beers from Full Geek BrewLab, thinking I'd have to review something else of theirs because I don't think I've reviewed them properly on this show before, and it's not fair if the only one I'm doing is a year old. And that variety pack happened to have the new version of Helios. So there you go, Hazy IPA Helios. Here's the version from a year ago. Here's the new version here. Yeah, so I'm kind of excited to try this. It should be interesting. So let's check if there's any other differences here. There's no packaged on date, sadly, but I do know I've had this for a good year. And this is part of a variety pack that came out with some new beers that they just released. So I'm going to say this is probably pretty fresh. But again, no packaged on date. Yeah, so is there any other differences? 29 IBUs, 29 IBUs. SRM 3.7, SRM 3.7. ABV 5.6, ABV 5.3. The new version is 0.3% weaker than the old version. All right, so those are the differences between it. Other than that, I don't know. I think it's time to get into this. So let's crack open the old one first, because this is Back of the Beer Fridge Sunday, and I did find this in the back of the beer fridge. And man, that is an active beer. Now pour this one into my Winnipeg Jets glass. And yeah, it's big head on this one. And I'm getting some really strong aromas already. Just like not even bringing it too close to my face. Okay, I'm just going to pop this one down there. And I'm going to crack open the new one as well. For other comparison notes, my fridge upstairs is a touch colder, which is where this one was. There we go. No big foamy activity. I don't know if that's because something's been building up in that one for a year. I don't know. But I'm getting a much nicer pour off this fresh one, that's for sure. This one's going into my grain to glass. I don't have any Full Geek glassware. I don't even know if they have any available. They're a pretty upstart brewery. They've been around for a couple of years. They don't even have their own space. They brew out of they brew out of I made that mistake last time. They brew out of Ox's Brewing. And, I make that mistake because there are two breweries that do a lot of contract brewing here in Winnipeg, and they're both so close to each other, the same end of town. Okay, so, yeah, that's a pretty cloudy-looking beer, pretty hazy. You're not seeing my face through that. The older version, you can't see my face through the foam or the body of the beer. Is there any other difference here? Not really, eh? I mean, if you were to see it from the same angle that I do, it looks like the body on this is just a little thicker and hazier than this is. I mean, this is hazy, don't get me wrong, but it's a little bit lighter. I can see my my finger on the other side holding it. With this one, I don't really get that. So this is, yeah, definitely a thicker thicker beer than this one. This one is a little more clear. So there's some differences already, and I don't know if that's typical of the aging or anything like that. One thing I have been told by people in the brew industry is that, I've often asked about how long beer cans should be stored for, because there was a point in time during the pandemic when I had like over 200 cans of beer in my closet. It's like, when am I going to get to all these? And I was told that IPAs in particular don't age that well. That an IPA should be consumed within like about a 6-month window of when it was canned. And the other thing that I was told by the same people was that the best way to age a beer is actually in a can. So, you know, when you get those bottles with the wax seal, those ones with the cork and cage on them and that kind of thing that you're supposed to store somewhere, apparently a can is the best way to preserve a beer. So this older IPA has been preserved in a can for, like I said, at least a year. I can't remember exactly when I got it last year, but I do remember last summer thinking, oh, I got to get around to that one. I never did. So yeah, they do look completely different. This one has more of that sort of, I mean, the opaqueness of this is really more what I expect from a hazy IPA. Whereas this one, it borders on like a wheat beer almost. And this also has like kind of a head on it that is more typical of an IPA, whereas this head is just, it's cleaner, dissipating right fairly quickly. This definitely leaves a lot more lacing, and it's just got that really fluffy kind of IPA quality to it. All right, let's get a nose on this one. Definitely getting some fruity notes. Not necessarily citrusy, but juiciness for sure. Yeah, I want to say pineapple for sure. Maybe mango, that kind of a thing. I'm just gonna check if the nose is any different. Let's go step by step with these, right? The aromas on this one are nowhere near as strong. Nowhere near. I get the same kinds of notes, but nowhere near as strong on the fresher of the two beers. Interesting. All right, friends, gonna go in for a sip on this year-old can of Helios. Cheers. It's not bad. There is a juiciness to it. Definitely get like the pineapple-y kind of note in there that I was saying before. It's not as creamy as some hazy IPAs I've had. But yeah, it's definite juiciness to it, and a little bit of a dry finish to it. All right, so let's check out the fresh can of the Helios. You know, I should have had a palate cleanser in between. It does not taste like the same beer. The body is completely different. I'm going to say I get even like a little bit more of a citrusy note on this one that I was not getting on the other. A much lighter, thinner body to it. So this almost feels like a completely different beer to me. And this feels a little truer to the style. Yeah, it's much juicier. I said that I didn't think it was that creamy. In comparison to the new one, it is. Yeah, it's got a more robust body. Definitely a juicier beer. This one is 0.3% alcohol less. Everything else about it seems to say it's the same. I mean, this one kind of reminds me of like a light IPA. I've had a couple of light IPAs recently that I actually really liked. I did one from Bob Cajun Brewing in Ontario. They did a micro IPA. It was like 2.5% alcohol, and you had like just enough of like the IPA kind of flavors in there with a lower ABV. Whereas this still has your full body, your full ABV, but it feels like a lighter beer. There's more subdued IPA notes in there. I mean, they're there. The juiciness is there. But yeah, it's much lighter. That's what it says on the can. Racing across the sky from morning to night in a chariot of fire, Helios shines light on everything that passes below. This sunny, light, yellow ray of sunshine has a bright citrus flavor with subtle notes of herb to underpin this crushable IPA. Helios looks down upon all others and bathes them in the warm glow of its brilliance. I mean, it says crushable. For an IPA, it's not... I rarely consider IPAs to be a crushable beer, but I would say... at least this version of it, I could pound that back quite easily. And then this one just has the same story on the back. Okay. So the year in the fridge did not diminish this at all. I think it's quite a nice beer. If you like juicier, hazy IPAs, it's really good. I'm quite happy with this. Check out the lacing on that glass too. The newer one, I feel like it doesn't hit the style as much. I feel bad about this because I thought for sure the newer one would just be the same thing but better. But they're definitely done something different with this new batch from what they've done in the past. And yeah, I think I preferred it the way it was then, or maybe this just needs to sit in the fridge for a year. I don't know. But anyway, what I was told about IPAs needing to be consumed within 6 months, obviously the year did not damage this at all. I think it's actually quite nice. So yeah, weird experiment. I did not know where this was going to go. It didn't go where I expected it to, that's for sure. So yeah, that's very interesting. I've got, there were 3 other beers in the variety pack that I got from Full Geek. One of them I did in a live video about I don't know exactly when this video is coming out, but it was yesterday in my current timeline. But probably about a month ago is what you'd be looking back at then. And that was a Mexican cerveza, and it was quite nice. I also got an orange creamsicle style beer from them and like a straight up lager. So I might feature one or both of those as well in the coming weeks. All right, now for my favorite part of Back of the Beer Fridge Sunday, when I check out what I'm going to be drinking next week on Back of the Beer Fridge Sunday. All right, continuing on with my trend of local Winnipeg beers. One of my favorite breweries, not a style I particularly go for. This one I think I got from Trisha and Tyler for Christmas. It's from Sookram's Brewing. It is a strawberry rhubarb Cosmos. It is a fruit sour. They have a series of beers called Cosmos that are sours. And I love Sookram's. I love almost everything they do. I'm just not a big fan of the Cosmos line. But I know a lot of people who like them. So whatever I say about this, take that with a grain of salt. But that'll be next week. I'm back at the Beer Fridge Sunday. For now, thank you all for dropping by the Terry Isle Basement Pub. We'll see you all again real soon, my friends. Cheers.